What up, Cappers, Gambler? Oh, let me just check it. Oh, well, sorry. What up, Cappers, Gamblers, Punters, Hustlers, Low Baggers? Thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. This is the Jimmy the Bag Show live from the Dog and Bear 1100 Queen Street, West Toronto, Ontario. Those of you in the States, happy President's Day. Those of you in Canada, happy Family Day, I guess. But it does mean that today is a holiday, so come down to the Dog and Bear and drink with us. Man, excited to be here on the show on Monday. A lot of people get pissed off when they come into work Monday morning. Not us Cappers. Feels good. Feels good. I'm going to start drinking soon, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have one of Canada's top comics, staple of the Canadian comedy community, Cedric Newman, will be joining the show today. Born in Jamaica, bred in Montreal, now makes his home here in the 6th, Toronto, Ontario, tours all over the world. I just got back from Sweden on tour. We have him on the show. I'm very, very excited to be here with you guys. Shout out to all the Cappers in chat. We got Reese, Deer, Slayer, Ski, Dave, Burke. We got Berkey in the house. Berkey, another great stand-up comic you will see on this show. Don Carleone in the house. There's Rod Zawacki. There is Rod Zawacki in the house. Rod Zawacki on Friday's show gave us a little parlay, a little three-teamer money line parlay, and it was Monmouth, Davidson, Buffalo money line parlay at plus 500. The three teams won by combined 59 points. The winner of the Vegas Gun Award for excellence in capping is none other than Rod Zawacki, who does so much for this show. Shout out to Rod Zawacki. Thank you for all you do, handing out plus 500 parlays on the regular. Shout out to our guy, your guy, Rod Zawacki. Now, we got Christopher Comentini ready to get to work. Dave and Cal, 48, ready to go. Danny Menlo, Walla Dos, Eduardo Solano. Slats 45 says Tampa hard tonight. They just got Blake Coleman from the Devils, 21 goals. Grubauer out for the Avs. Tampa 5-1 last 6 versus Avs. Jimmy, your SBR photo scares my wife. Okay, all right. One of these comments was not like the other, but I hear you, Slats 45, and I do apologize for my nastiness. There's Dan Kelly ready to get to work. See, no NBA, and Dan Kelly still here, ready to rock with us. Much love to you, Dan Kelly. There's Carlos Peroge and his cheesy balls. Paco Healy in the house. Glenn Elliott, man, ready to go. Rye Cape AM, screaming the Dog and Bear. Yes, come down and join us, AM. Bring Coactus. Bring the whole family. Viper NB in the house. Ron Crawford, NHL spreadsheet, Calgary and Tampa. I'm going to copy and paste that right now. There's my guy Rez Mob in the house. Going to copy and paste that right now. There we go. Oh, sorry, paste. There's Mr. Gokster, JD Sportsnut, AJS, Tri Sawyer, Gerardo Hernandez, not applicable. What a group. AJN, Liberty Finder says time to leche. Ron Fig, Trey Hicks. Says, well, Jimmy, would you put up an Astros hat behind you if I sent one your way? You know, I was thinking about that. Have the Astros hats and clothing become like a Roethlisberger jersey? I remember I had a girl hook me up with a Roethlisberger jersey right after the second accused rape, and I did not wear it, nor have I worn it. Mitch Bruner in the house. All right, it's Schnizzle, ready to get to work. All right, Dorado, Paris, Sports says, we want the return of the NBA. We'll be coming soon. Coco Bongo says, Hillbilly Racing today. Hey, it's all good, man. Whatever you can make cash on, it is all good. Lenny Jean-Louis, ready to go. And Yellow Jesus says, I'm taking the Ducks today. Easy money. Interesting. There's Lily Gunn. Lily, we just awarded the Vegas Gun Award for excellence in capping to Rod Zawacki. And there's Lily Gunn joining us on this Monday, President's Day. Much love to you, Lily. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. We have 25 minutes before we are graced with Cedric Newman, one of the best comics in the country. Grew up in the Expos heyday. I got so many questions and so much fun to talk to him. He's partied with a lot of these NHLers, NFLers, CFLers. They party a little bit worse because they're broke. All right, let's get to work right now on the NHL card. Coming off a 2-1 day in NHL on Friday. Had I pulled the trigger on other moves that I wanted to make, I'm just a little trigger shy because this is the first year in front of you that I haven't destroyed NHL. I would have gone 4-1, but I went 2-1. Rafa, my man, could you please put up the NHL record? And I don't like it. I don't like what I see. Let's pop it up here just from my own looks right now. We hit with Penguins -1. I probably should have gone 1.5. We hit with that San Jose Winnipeg under 6.5. We had Bob Ruby come on the show or in the chat and say, look at this. How easy is this? How easy is this under? And it was very, very easy. Very, very easy. Dan Kelly, he knows the history of the Expos. You're going to enjoy having said in the house. Yellow Jesus says the Flames are overrated. Yellow Jesus here to bless all of our picks. D. Summers, Repulate Gaming, Tyrone Coleman. What a great group. All right. Yeah, Jerry Park was spectacular. He says, best place I ever saw an MLB game from. I hear you. I hear you, Dan. It's going to be fun having said on the show. Okay, so I'm still down 7.58 units. It's an embarrassment. My average line's gone down to +123. My ROI is -3.89%. It's an embarrassment. We are going to change that right now. So there's a couple moves. One, I told you guys, I believe on Thursday or Wednesday, I believe it might probably was Thursday, that the Sharks are going to be an unders team. And we're going to be ahead of the market, or I'm just so wrong. We were ahead of the market. They're unders. This Flames team has become an over team. And do you want to get in the way of it? All these games are going over. The one game that pushed was Ducks Flames at 6. Flames put up 6 goals in that game. Glenn Elliott, man, already on the Ducks Flames over 5.5. Let's get after it right now. Ron Fig says, fire away, Jimmy, trust yourself. And that is exactly what I'll do. That is exactly what I'll do. Mr. Goksa says it's just a matter of time before the Flames came back to earth with the injuries they have. I agree. AM says we'll definitely drop by with Coactus sometime. I like that. Cat Money Benny says who's going to bankrupt the casinos today? Let's get after it right now. Richard Lee in the house. Ducks Flames over 5.5 at -113. Let's pull up the best odds page on the planet, sportsbookreview.com odds page right now, and see what we're dealing with in this Ducks Flames game. This is an early start. I'm looking forward to it. Anaheim, Calgary. Calgary opening up at -186. That's where they stand now. This total, there's been a 3-cent move towards the under. I don't know how. I don't know how you can expect sounder, more conscious defensive hockey when there's no Hamonic and there's no Giordano. I don't know. There's Nasty Nate in the house. Okay, we are going to talk NHL. And we're going to talk a little NCAA basketball as well. I've got a look that I want to pull the trigger on. I want to talk it out loud with you guys. But let's start with Ducks Flames. And if you want to support the show, please like, subscribe, and hit the link at the bottom of the screen, www.sbrvideo.com/thebag. Let's go. Rod Zwacky says take Flames, puck line, and over today. Ryan Miller going to be in that. 2.93 goals against average, .909 save percentage. He's a step down from Gibson. We know that. Even if Gibson's having an off year, Ryan Miller is a step down. We think it could be Riddick in the between the pipes for the Flames. Talbot's been very good this year. Has better numbers. Yellow Jesus says, Jimmy, take all the dogs today. You know what? I'll go through my looks, but I've only got one side. I've got 2 totals. I'm taking the over 5.5 here at -113. Flames, Ducks playing for the second time in 5 days. Flames beat the Ducks 6-0 in Anaheim. Flames came home after that, after winning 3 of 4 on the trip, and got beat up by the Blackhawks 8-4. They're struggling at home. They're playing weak defensively. Elias Lindholm is on a run right now, 10-game point streak. Anaheim bounced back in a big way against the Canucks. They feel good about themselves offensively. It's just the 5th time all year they've touched 5 goals. They're playing well on the road. 6-game point streak away from Anaheim. Over 5.5. Paul Costa says, Jimmy could call him Blue Jackets not being another team anymore. Should have listened. Don't worry, Paul. We work together to defeat the Juice. That's the only way we're going to succeed. MLB says Xavier hasn't lost to St. John last 10 games. Easy player. Yes, I would like to jump on Xavier. We're going to talk about that shortly. All right, there we go. Over 5.5 in the Flames game. Let's keep rolling. Islanders, Coyotes. So what happens to me? You guys have seen this for the 3rd year is that I make future bets on a team, and it affects how I cap them. And this is the same thing that's happening now with the Coyotes. I pretty much know I'm going to lose money now with the Coyotes futures. And I almost want to stay away from them. I find them a kind of a tricky team to cap right now. Shady McQueen says I would also take the under on the Xavier game. We will get to that very soon. Repulate Gaming says Ducks first period over automatic. Cash after cash after cash. I love that. I love seeing that. There's Blue FM says welcome home, Bagman. Love it. Love it. Thank you for joining us. Blue FM in the house. Yellow Jesus liking the Ducks team total over. Look, I get it. I'm just not going to spread myself too thin here. Just a $20 bet on the over 5.5. Get both teams rolling. Deer Slayer Ski says taking the Isles. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with in the market here in this spot. Coyotes opened up at -132. They're now at -130. This total opened up at 5.5 at some books. Now it's 5, and it's heavily juiced to the under at 5. And I get it. Islanders play low. Islanders haven't scored in the last 2 games. Antti Ranta stepping up. Talkett saying nice things about that big Coyotes win over the Capitals. And the Islanders are winless on this trip. I expect the Islanders to step up at some point. Will it be here? They make a nice pickup with Andy Green. You know that Trotzy likes defense. He's getting it there. Coyotes coming off that big win over the Capitals, just their 4th win in their last 16 games. For me, and Mr. Gokster says, I can see Hill starting. I think you got to go with Ranta. After that game. But let's see what Talkett decides. I think you got to go with Ranta. I don't trust Aiden Hill as much as Ranta. Ranta coming off that big game against the Caps, I would go with Ranta. Not applicable says Arizona and Islanders, a tough game, like in the under. Tomorino in the house. And ASAP Ski, like in Notre Dame -4. ASAP Ski in the house. Tomorino says Islanders struggled against Nashville and Vegas, but Arizona hasn't been as consistent. I'm on the Islanders plus 118. I think we're going to talk about that game ASAP. Don't worry. We're going to talk about Notre Dame, North Carolina. That comes up today as well. I'm off Islanders, Coyotes, off of it. Let's move on to Panthers, Sharks. I'm on the under 6 at plus 100. When I look at this, I look at the total of the 5.5 in the Flames game and the 6 in this Sharks game. Now, there is a 6.5 available right now. Clearly, that's only at Bookmaker. But clearly, I should have waited, could have waited. The way I see this, under 6 at plus 100 is that the Sharks are not going to score anymore. They might get a Brent Burns power play goal, maybe. They're not going to be doing very much moving forward without Karlsson. Look at these injuries they have. Karlsson, broken thumb. Evander Kane is serving game 2 of a 3-game suspension. You have Hurdle and Couture out. And then you have this Panthers team that scored 18 goals in their last 9 games. Coming off a 4-1 loss to the Oilers. That was an Oilers team without McDavid. I see this spot as an under. And I'm not going to overthink it. We talk about how in NHL, sometimes things that look too good to be true, they're just that good. In NBA, you don't have to believe them. But in NHL, we can believe them. And I'm going to take this under 6, and I'm going to ride these unders with the Sharks, and I'm going to ride these overs with the Flames, and I'm not going to overanalyze things or try to get in the way of trends when I need cash in my pocket. Mr. Gokes are agreeing that Ranta should get the start. Bobrovsky should be better. He was sick in that Edmonton game. He's expected to be good to go here. I'm on the under 6 at plus 100. Dear Slayer Ski says Sharks fade City. Look, I agree. But you want to trust the Panthers here? I don't. Okay, let's keep rolling. Move on to Capitals, Vegas. And there's Miss J. Miss J, I love that you are joining us as I've been learning how to be a successful capper in NHL. I owe it to you, my friend. Miss J, keep cashing. We love having you in the chat. All right. Let's go. Tomino says Bobrovsky been bad recently, but not sure Sharks can score. I agree. Griffin Spence in the house says Sharks lose. It is what it is. And Slides 45 says great cap on Sharks game. Jimmy roll. Yeah, we said it on Thursday. They're going to be an under team, and the market's going to catch up, just like they caught up with the Blue Jackets, and then we were ahead of that curve, getting overs. This is the time of year where we eat in the NHL. This will be the 3rd year in a row where there's teams that need to win games, and that's why a lot of people are backing Xavier today against St. John's at MSG. Xavier needs this win to get in the tourney. St. John's not getting in the tourney unless they win the conference tournament. They're not going to do that. All right. I'm on the under 6. Now let's move on to Capitals Golden Knights. There's Lamont Williams in the house. Thank you for joining us. There's 1 for the money, 2 for the show joining us. I love it. All right, let's talk Capitals Golden Knights here. Holtby, Marc-Andre Fleury. I've found the Golden Knights kind of a tricky team all year. I want to fade them. I still think they're the best team in the Pacific Division. And I've yet to make that future bet because they're hard to trust. They go into places like Minnesota and get beaten up 4-0. They can be physically abused. They're no longer getting their players for a discount like they did in their first year in the NHL. Now they're overpaying for every spot on that team. That's what happens when you make the Stanley Cup Finals. Not applicable says Panthers will start scoring again because it's the Sharks. I don't know. Look, if I was the Sharks right now, I'd go right back with Martin Jones and see if we can get him hot. I mean, that's his first shutout since 2017 or something like that? Okay, let's roll. Capitals, Golden Knights, Holtby, Fleury. So we have a Capital. Oh, and back to the that Sharks-Panthers under. The Sharks power plays at 16.1%. That's with Erik Karlsson. So now let's take him out. Let's say your power plays 12 or 13%. That's the biggest weak spot on the Panthers is their penalty killing at 77.5. What do the Sharks excel at? Their penalty killing at 85.6%. Where are the Panthers dangerous right now? On their power play. All right, let's keep rolling. Christopher Comentine says, I will have to see the Panthers score before I put money on it. I completely agree with that. All right, let's go back to this night's Capitals spot. Look, the Capitals are all about this Ovechkin for 700 goals right now, and he's now not scored in 4 games. He attempted 16 shots at Arizona, 8 on goal, 5 were blocked, 1 hit the post. Capitals are 3-5-0 over the last 8 games, and the Penguins are breathing down their neck in the Met. Vegas coming off their second straight win at home, 1-0 over the Islanders. Capitals are the best road team in the NHL, and there's Rod Zawacki. Here we go. Rod Zawacki, fresh off winning the Vegas Gun Award for excellence in capping. Let's grab this right now. I'm going to copy and paste this right now. 10-star play of the days. Washington -1 other plus 295. And then Washington moneyline, Tampa Bay moneyline, Xavier moneyline, triple. Wow. Okay, let me copy and paste that. There we go. There's Rod Zawacki is in. Looking forward to see what Lamont Williams like in St. John's solo team total over. Jay Vegas says Vegas is a favorite in a spot they shouldn't be. Good value on the Caps. Look, I get it. But I think that the Golden Knights are still going to be overvalued at home. I think the Capitals are a dangerous fade after they've been losing. Tormino says Caps have been the same team since the break with Kuznetsov out. There's no doubt about that. I mean, you're asking Backstrom to do a little too much. Paco Healy says, yes, Vegas puck line. I'm very comfortable to be off this game. Tormino says Vegas talent is a level above the Caps with Kuznetsov. Look, I agree with that. There's Jojo Rich in the house. There's Arthur Meade Jr. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. And going over the Islanders-Coyotes game. I like it. All right. Let's go right now. DJ 100 Grand being too long. DJ 100 Grand joining us. Love seeing that. Coco Bongo in the house as well. Capitals, Golden Knights. Let's see what the best odds page on the planet has to say about this. Sportsbookreview.com. Washington, Vegas. Vegas opening up at -124. There's been a 9-cent move towards them at Pinnacle. This total sitting at 6.5. I'm comfortably off of this game. And let's let Christopher Comentini ride us into the next spot. Ride the Lightning. Ride the Lightning. This team was winning without Kucherov and Stamkos, and now they have him back. They are 1 win away from their franchise record winning streak. And now we have an Avalanche team that has to put in Pavel Francouz, who's had a fine year. He's had a great year. Let's say more than fine. 925 save percentage, 2.44 goals against. But when you don't get to play every second day, it's difficult. It's more difficult, and I think it's going to be more difficult for him here. Avalanche have a 78.9% penalty killing. Tampa Bay's eating on the power play at 23.3%. The Lightning have won 10 in a row, 5 of those coming on the road. They know that they're going for a franchise record winning streak here. And look, I don't like fading an Avalanche team that's lost 2 straight, but let's talk about why they've lost 2 straight. They don't have Nazem Kadri. He was making that second line run. He's also their most consistent, conscious defensive forward, and he can play against the other team's top center. He's out of the lineup. Then you lose Matt Calvert. Then you lose Grubauer. And Kucherov comes back with a goal and assist. Stamkos comes back with 2 assists. I'm taking the Lightning. Paul Coast is over. Last 5 games between the two, 8.5. I think this is a little different. Because the Avalanche aren't scoring, and the Lightning need this win to get that franchise record winning streak. It opened at -111. It's now -114. This total was sitting at 6. It's now up to 6.5. Look, I can understand people going over the 6, and that might have been a miss by me. But Paul Costa, I think you're in good shape here with that 6. Tormino saying Colorado's looked bad since the Kadri injury. Thanks, Eddie Duncan. Thank you for joining us. We're live at the Dog and Bear, 1100 Queen Street West, Toronto, Ontario, the best place in the city to watch Raptors, Leafs, or any soccer. This is a great soccer bar as well. Dom Ricci, 22-10 in the NHL last week. I love it. Dom Ricci is eating. Mr. Gold says Colorado have 2 great goalies in the woodworks. Look, the Avalanche are going to be a very good team, and they're going to be very dangerous in this weak Western Conference playoffs. And Reese says I'm on the under 6.5 playoff style hockey. That's a very, very possibility, and I'm comfortable staying off this total. I've got 3 looks on this NHL card. Let's talk about them. Lightning, I got a -110 at 5 dimes, and then I have 2 totals. I'm on the over 5.5. The Flames have not shown that they can keep the puck out of their net, and they're scoring tons of goals. The Ducks just woke up offensively. Maybe they go for a little bit of a run. I'm on the over 5.5 there. And I'm on the under 6 in the Sharks-Panthers game, and both those totals are moving against me. Vaughn Burgess in the house says Caps, Bolts, Islanders, moneyline parlay. I will copy and paste that. Paco Healy says, damn, I want to get blitzed at the Dog and Bear. Paco Healy, just a short trip up from San Diego. Come join us, man, at the Dog and Bear. Man, we were here. Tim Steves was on the show Friday. We were hammering those Johnny Walker Blacks. It was wonderful. Wonderful. All right, there's my NHL card. Let's move on to NCAA basketball. We don't have time to break down all the games. Let's just talk about the marquee spots, and let's talk about Xavier St. John right now. Xavier St. John's. This is at Madison Square Garden. This, to me, just feels like a spot where one team has to win. Oh, we got a parlay coming in from Lamont Williams, Bethune-Cookman over 160, Kansas Solo over 78, and Pine Bluff Solo team total over 60. Here we go. Copy and paste that right now. Lamont Williams is in. Matt Randall. We have not seen Matt Randall. We haven't got a Taint play today. Taint's hot. I doubled up on that Taint in the bet. I only made it one play here on the show, but when I bet it, I doubled up on first half full game. You see the Taint correlate with Maxwell Smart, you know to get in there. And Mr. Gogster says, I'll come in with the heavy greenery, Jim. Mr. Gogster, we need you down there. We need you down there. Slats 45 says, perfect day coming. Sun is shining on the same two picks as Jimmy. Sharks under, Tampa regulation and money line, just feeling it. Oh, let's go. Hal Abraham says, Xavier is the play. I agree. I think it just comes down to a spot where one team has to win. Look at the Red Storm have lost 9 of their last 12. Opened up -1.5, now -2. They snapped a 3-game losing skid after beating Providence 80-69 last Wednesday. Providence is a bad team. And I did copy and paste that right, Lamont. Okay, good. Cool. Just checking. Xavier has to win, and they have to win now. So St. John's 10-5-1 against the spread at home. They've been undervalued at home. Xavier had his 3-game winning streak snapped to number 19 Butler on the road last Wednesday. It's tough to go into Butler. We know that. They had beaten number 10 Seton Hall. They'd beaten DePaul. They'd beaten Providence. They'd won 3 straight. Don Carleone saying, taint no joke. I agree. Schnizzle liking that under the Notre Dame game. This is my guy, Bleds W, in the house. Tom Marino, with his shots props, have been so good, so successful. He's leaning McKinnon over 4.5 shots. He knows he has to step up. Mr. Ghost says those lungs better be healed. They are. I'm ready. Ghoster, come down. Come down, Dog and Bear. Let's do it, man. Okay. Next up, I'm going to back this Xavier team. So what are the problems with this bet if you look at trends? 1, Xavier 3-6-1 against the spread is single-digit favorite this season. St. John's 10-5-1 against the spread at home. So and Prince of the City saying everyone and their brothers on Xavier. Prince, my man, what's your move here? I've not pulled the trigger yet. I just feel like one team has to win this game. They have to win it. But are we dealing with the same thing? MLB says they're not losing to St. John's. Take the money line if you scared. No, look. No fear here. Not scared at all. Not scared at all. Okay. All right. Paul Costa says, sleeping on my alma mater. You know what? I think the move is Xavier. But the Prince of the City, you know what? We can win as a team as well. Xavier has to win this game or they're not in the tourney. They're not in the dance. I think they step up here. Stu Boo says Xavier all day. Christopher Compton says looks like a toss-up. I'm going to back Xavier here. They have to win. -1.5 and -110 at you wager. All right. Xavier -1.5. -110. All right, Dom reaches on the Notre Dame under 147. Let's talk about North Carolina. Notre Dame, North Carolina last in the ACC, 3-11 in the ACC. God, can't believe these are the Tar Heels we're talking about. Irish, 15-10 overall, 6-8 in the ACC. North Carolina's lost 5 straight. They've only won 2 road games all year. Coming off a 64-62 spirited loss at home to Virginia on Saturday night. They're 4-11 against the spread in their last 15 after and against the spread loss. Schnizzle says, I love the Notre Dame under today. Prince of the City says, I agree it is the spot, but it looks too easy and everyone on it. Prince of the City, I get it. I get why that would I don't know if we have a positive ROI when we're all on the same play. I get it. This total opened up at 147.5. It's now up to 148. And Dom on the under. Schnizzle on the under. Interesting. Irish are 12-3 at home. 3-0-1 against the spread in their last 4 after an against the spread loss. 6-2-1 against the spread in their last 9 home games. 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 overall. I'm very uncomfortable with the side in this game. Very uncomfortable. But what I will do is take a good look at that under. And my guy, Richard Lee, saying Xavier is the play. Jay Vegas says Tar Heels beat Notre Dame by 11 at home 3 months ago. That was the first game of the year, though, right? All right, interesting. Dom on the under. I'm going to have to take a good look at that. And then finally, we have one ranked team in action. We got the Kansas Jayhawks, who are rolling right now. Lamont Williams, Notre Dame money line. Don Carleone says Tampa Bay Lightning looks too easy. And Stu Boo saying easy under. Paul Costa says public all over North Carolina to break the losing streak, but they are mentally checked out. Christopher Comtini says North Carolina can't score. Okay. All right, you guys have talked me into the under. I'll run with you. I'll run with Ick Schnizzle and Dom Ricci under 148. Under 148 and a half at minus 113. That's available at Bet Online. Under 148 and a half, minus 113 at Bet Online. All right, we are about to bring on Cedric Newman. Let's quickly talk about this Kansas Jayhawks team. 1-10 straight. They're beating teams down. They win 87-70 over Oklahoma at home on Saturday night. Marcus Garrett, who can do so many things for them. He goes off for 24. Dotson, 19. Azubuike, 15 and 17. Another double-double for him. He's a beast down low. Iowa State coming off a demolishing of Texas, but Texas is beaten up so badly. I don't think we should get too excited about the Cyclones beating them up. We know that Halliburton out for the year. Russ Young in the house. Russ Young, thank you for joining us. Russ Young out of Winnipeg says you need a Winnipeg Jets hat in your collection. No. How about that, Russ? No, I hate all Canadian teams not named the Vancouver Canucks, unless you're in the Stanley Cup Finals against an American team, and then I'll cheer for you. And Russ, you'll be glad to know that we do show a clip of your great city, Winnipeg, on the show often. The clip of that guy taking a dump in the planter. That's what we do. We show that clip over and over again. But Russ Young in the house, love it. Okay, Jayhawks, Cyclones. Look, I have some interest in Iowa State first half. I have some interest on them first half. Get a +9 on them first half. Some. Eric Nisbet, Wilder over Fury. Fury eats the canvas Saturday night. I love you talking about that, Eric Nisbet. We're going to be talking about that all week. Can't wait to watch that big, big fight. Can't wait to watch that big, big fight. Do I want to sit here with Iowa State after they dominate? I don't. I really don't, and I'm not going to. So I'm going to stay off of it. Not a play. We're calling it Winter Peg. But nice having Russ Young in the chat. Need a Winnipeg Jets hat in your collection. I need a Solani jersey. I'll take a Solani jersey. All right. Okay, so I've made 2 moves. Nobicle says that was in Costa Rica. Was like AGS says you need a Sabres hat. Yeah, I almost got one. Yesterday. There's a hat I'm looking at. I'm gonna have a Sabres hat in my collection because I'll be going to Sabres games all the time. Because you can drive down to Buffalo, you can get a hotel in Buffalo, you can watch the game there, and it's cheaper than seeing a game in Toronto. All right. Okay, I'm on the under 148.5. North Carolina, Notre Dame. I'm on Xavier -1.5, and that, my friends, is our NCAA basketball card, and we have everything locked down. So those of you who missed the NHL segment, over 5.5 in Anaheim, Calgary, under 6 in the Sharks game, and then we are taking the Lightning. And without further ado, thank you for watching Sportsbook Review. This is the Jimmy the Bag Show, episode 4, and we have one of the best comics in this country joining us right now. Born in Jamaica, bred in Montreal, now makes his home here in Toronto. Lots of credits to give off of his great career, which I will mention. But first, let's welcome into the show Cedric Newman in the house.
Woo!
Ced.
The J, the I, the M, the Y, the J, the I, the M. It's Jimmy Ding Dong. Yes!
Jimmy Ding Dong.
Brought your little gift there, man.
Oh,
there we
this,
go.
Hey, look at
You got
this.
your own.
My own Cedric Newman shirt. I love it. Fuck off, that's funny.
Yeah.
There we go with Cedric Newman, comedian. I like it, man. Thank you
man,
very much.
You can wear that to bed with a belt on.
Of course. That's how I wear all my shirts. To bed with a belt on. All right, Cedric Newman joining us right now. Starred on Much Music, the Comedy Network, can be seen this weekend at the Halifax Yuck Yucks, and now making an appearance on the Jimmy the Bag Show right now. And you grew up in Montreal during the Expos heyday. Let's start with that, man. What was that like?
Oh man, I was 7 years old. Kids don't go out by themselves now. It was just a gang of 7 years old getting on the subway, going all the way to the east end of Montreal to watch an Expo game. $2 hot dogs. They had steamers. They'd carry steamers on their chest, like big heavy steamers. Shan Show hot dog. That's what we hear. Shan Show hot dog, $1. Like bleacher seats, $2. Man, you can't have that no more.
Well, that was in the Olympic Stadium, which has to be the shittiest stadium I've ever seen in my life.
Well, it looks like an anus. It's a big O, right? It was built for the Olympics, and then the Expos moved from Jarry Park to go play in the Expos in the stadium, right?
And that
Rusty Staub was with them back in the heyday.
Well, they were talking about Dan Kelly was talking about Jarry Park, but that was when Montreal was, which I'm not saying it isn't now, but that's when all the construction companies were run by the mob.
Yes.
So they built Olympic Stadium, and they, that probably could have cost $500 million, but it cost what, like a couple bill?
Yeah, a couple bill, yeah. Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, we are allowed to talk about
that. Was like, if you watch a series Bad Blood, you'll get to know about all the illegal stuff that was going on back then.
So, was it 1993 when the strike, I guess it was 94.
It was
93,
94,
90, oh yeah, 93 was the Jays. 92, 93 was the Jays. 94 was the strike. The Expos are winning in the NL.
70 and 47, if I'm not mistaken. We went into, before the strike, we were the top team in baseball.
What was the attendance like then? Were you guys packing?
Yeah, we were ready. We were ready to blow. That was our year. That was the year we were going to win it. We had, the Shields was gone, but we had Marquis Grissom. We had El Presidente. Yeah. Come on, that's the kind of the Expos their farm team would get the best guys. We had Randy Johnson at one point. El Presidente, you know where he was from? Nicaragua. Who knows any baseball players in Nicaragua? Like, they were finding players everywhere. Vladdy came a little later. That team was so Grissom was gone. DeShields, Gary Carter was still there.
So how angry was it? Palpable? Like, how angry? Because I know we're going to talk about the Habs and the riots and stuff like that soon, but how angry were these Expo fans when they shut the season down?
Do you remember, you want to know how angry we were? Remember Moises Alou? Remember when the kid grabbed the ball? Remember how angry he was? Yeah. That's how angry.
Bartman.
Yes.
Bartman.
That's how angry we were in 94, man. It was
and it never came back.
It never came back. That was it. That was the beginning of the end. That's what we call the beginning of the end, man.
Okay, all-time, Coco Bongo says, didn't the roof start to fall on the field? Yeah.
Yes, it did, actually.
It did. Dan Kelly says, supposed to have the distinction of having the best and worst home stadiums. Jerry Park and the Big O.
The Big O, yeah. And then also, too, it wasn't, our stadium wasn't downtown. It was in the East End. The exit was called P9. But if you're English, you would say Paix. So you wouldn't know how to find it because it reads Paix, but it was P9. And it was way in the East End. Who wants to go out there?
Montreal is a great city. It's a great city, but they do. Now, are you fluent in French?
Oui, je parle français.
All right, because they don't like it if you can't speak French.
Well, that's why they try to protect their language, right? They're afraid of Anglicization. It means they're gonna lose their language, and they feel that way, and that's why they protect it. I just got back from Cuba. If you're in Cuba and you ask anybody from Canada, the way from they say Canada, but if they're from Quebec, they go, I'm from Quebec. They don't say Canada, from Quebec.
No, I feel you. And best strip clubs in the world. And we can talk about that shortly. All-time favorite Montreal Expo.
I'd have to go with the Hawk, Andre Dawson.
Yeah.
He started out in right field. That the 81 team, Andre Dawson was in right field. They moved him to center field after, but I used to deliver the Gazette. I was 10 years old then, right? So I used to deliver the Montreal Gazette, and one of the players I delivered to in his condo was Warren Cromartie. He started at first base, and they moved him out into the outfield after. And if he had a bad game, he wouldn't get his paper. I wouldn't give him his paper.
Carlos Perosh this is going to hurt. Carlos Perosh, our guy, he's from Washington.
Yeah.
So he says, we will share our world championship with you.
Oh, man. When you guys went to Washington, when the Expos went to Washington, that team was so bad, even Yuppie didn't go, man. Yuppie stayed with the Habs, man.
Yuppie was the best mascot of all time until Gritty.
Gritty looks like Yuppie on crack, bro.
Gritty just got off an assault charge.
You heard that little kid?
Gritty just got off an assault charge.
That guy's aggressive.
Gritty's the shit. I love Gritty.
But he in Bemble's the Philly crowd. That's how they are. They're aggressive.
No, they are aggressive.
That place, man.
They are aggressive. Slats45 says turf destroyed Dawson's knees. And Mr. Gokes are giving a shout out to St. Catherine.
Yeah, man. Super sex.
Yes.
I'll take the soup.
Yeah. Okay. So if you were an Expos fan growing up in Montreal, then you must remember Blue Monday.
Yes. Like I said, I was grade 5. It was an afternoon game. It was October 19th. It was a Monday. And they took us out of the class into the auditorium to watch it on a tube TV. It wasn't black and white. It was color TV. But they took us to watch it on a tube. And when Rick Monday hit that home run, I remember like it was yesterday. It was top of the 9th inning, 1-1. We brought in our ace, Steve Rogers. And boom, Rick Monday hit it out. And that was it. Everybody's hearts just fell.
Wow.
Yeah. Why did you have to open up old wounds, man?
Now people says no soup for you. He's not being the super sex. He's not being the super sex. So what do you think? Tampa Bay Rays, they want to play half of their games in Montreal. Does the city care about that? Are they excited about that? Do they want that?
We will take anything at this point, but I don't know. A lot of the old Jewish people and they all go down to Florida anyways, so they're gonna get the support from the Montrealers. A lot of Montrealers are in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a lot of old people, but they'll still get the support.
Yeah, we'll see. I
don't think it's gonna happen, though. Tell you the truth.
They got to do something with Tampa.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't want to see games back in the Big O. You guys got to build a stadium downtown.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy.
All right, so you grew up baseball. Your friends were into baseball. You had a buddy named Larry. Larry had an interesting story.
Okay, so Larry's sister Elizabeth, he was a good friend of mine. We grew up together, and Elizabeth ended up marrying Barry Bonds. So I had met him on a few occasions. We got to see a few games because he played for San Francisco. No, he played for the Pittsburgh first. He played for Pittsburgh first.
You got to watch the hammering on the table.
Sorry.
It's okay. The more we talk about the Expos, the harder you're hitting the table. So.
Aggressive, yeah. So I got to be. He wasn't really a fan guy. He was he was a prick.
Yeah, that's the story of him. And so he met his wife.
I mean, we all grew up in the same neighborhood, and he met his wife. I think he met her at the Expo game, to tell you the truth, or after one of these, these have the clubs after everybody go to. So that's where he met her. Very beautiful girl.
So do you think that Barry Bonds and his tiny testicles should be in the Hall of Fame?
He did put out. It's cheating. It is cheating. It's I don't know. It's a good question, man. He did put up those numbers, though. He did hit that ball. Whether it's steroids or not, you still got to hit the ball, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's talk about it. I mean, should the Astros pay a bigger penalty for the sign stealing?
They cheated and they got away with it. They won. What are you gonna say? It came from the top down. They're hitting garbage cans, but they still got to hit the ball. I mean, it was algorithms, right? And and you have an advantage when you know what pitch is coming. But at the end of the day, I still think you got to hit that ball. So they won. You can't change it.
Yeah.
You can't change it. That's the bottom line. They won, and they're gonna take a lot of slack for it now. They brought in Dusty Baker.
That'll help.
And guess who was on that Dodgers team in '81?
Yeah.
A fellow by the name of Dusty Baker. He's an outfielder, and he won with the Dodgers. They beat the Yankees that year, actually, and the Yankees had some no-name guys like Dave Winfield, Reggie Jackson, Candy Molina. You know what I mean? Fernando Valenzuela. Remember that guy?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, speaking of Dominican, there. That's Tony Fernandez, R.I.P.
Yeah, sadly, 57 years, young man. They say that Tony Fernandez put the Jays on the map.
Yeah, he was a big part of that.
Yeah.
93. I came down for that parade. That parade in 92, 93. I was about 22 years old. I came into town to just see the parade. Toronto people lost their minds. They were on top of buses, on top of cars, rocking stuff. They think it was bad that we looted when we won. If the Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup, that CN Tower's coming down, bro.
Yeah.
I
think we have a long time to wait on that. Let's talk about. So you grew up a goaltender in hockey. You played goalie, and we're talking about riots. Tell us a little bit about the Habs riots.
86 we won. We beat the Calgary Flames. Calgary Flames got their revenge in '89. We beat them 4-2, and right then it was in the middle of us. remember Oilers won 2 years before.
Yeah.
We won 86, and Oilers won 2 more with Gretzky, and then they won after without Gretzky. And yeah, so the Habs won that series. We didn't expect them. There was 90% Canadians on that team, and they had 2 enforcers.
Yeah, and
remember that?
We talked about that with Steve. So the enforcers are gone now.
Yeah,
there are no more enforcers really in the NHL. And that Montreal Canadiens team had 2 of them.
2 enforcers. Yeah. Chris Nyland and the Kordic was, he passed away, but they were a tough team, and a young Patrick Roy who was aggressive. Patrick Roy stood on his head that whole playoffs, and that's why they won it. And after we went downtown, I got a phone call that they're rioting downtown. What are you going to do when you're a kid in high school? Go join the riots. There's breaking windows. I got so many Fila tracksuits. Right there. Yeah. I got we couldn't afford Fila. You know how much a Fila tracksuit was back then? $300. Everybody in my class had it on. In grade 9, we all had Fila tracksuits for the whole. We didn't even ski. We're black people that didn't ski, but we had ski Fila goggles wearing the class.
Sure. Well, let's talk. So with the 86 riots, there were also riots in 93. In Vancouver, I was in the 2011 when the smoke started rising up. I was very dejected. That was different. When we lost to the New York Rangers in the Stanley Cup Final in Game 7, we were all going downtown after the game. There was going to be a parade anyways. We all went downtown, and there wasn't anger. I mean, we'd lost, but we were so proud of that team, so proud of Trevor Linden, so proud of that team. And so we're on Robson Street, and there's no sign of anything. There was this naked dude on a pole. So he climbed up the pole, and he was dancing and drinking up on this pole, and he fell.
Okay.
So he bails. They need to get the ambulance in, and the people on Rob Street thought they were trying to stop the party.
Yeah.
And immediately smash and grabs, and I got tear gassed, and I guess I should say immediately. I mean, it kind of took over like an hour and a half or 2 hours. But what was the difference between the 86 riots and the 93 riots?
The 86 riots it was our first cup in a long time. I think that one was the more aggressive of the two. And 93, they were a little more prepared for that. So the cops were already downtown. They couldn't stop it, but they were downtown because they were expecting it. Quebecers are just crazy.
Well, you have a rich history of riots from the Maurice Richard, Roger Richard days.
I wasn't around for that, but we do got a history of that.
No.
Yeah, the 93 Habs team was they won 10 overtime games. Toronto hated them because they thought they should have been in the finals because I remember the Gretzky thing in the back. So Gretzky took a team, he left in 88, and he took a team in LA where nobody really, Marcel Dion was around back then, but he took that team to the finals and lost. And whoops. And that 10 overtime win team was really a good team, man.
They were. That was a special year. That was a
Denny Savard was supposed to be our star player, but he was hurt most of the year. So, and another, like I said, Patrick Roy stood on his head again. That 10 overtime, that's unheard of.
Well, we're going to get into some basketball. Why don't we get into some basketball now? And our guy Cedric here, he coached basketball here in Toronto, mostly in Mississauga, right? Yeah. So you coached some famous players. You coached against famous players. Yeah. One guy you coached, Nick Stauskas, which a lot of us will remember. He's 8th overall pick in the draft, Sauce Castillo. You coached him for 3 or 4 years, right? Yeah. So he's drafted by the Kings. And interestingly enough, I was looking him up. He just got terminated his contract. He's no longer playing for anybody. He was he had signed in the Spanish EuroLeague, and on February 12th, so just 5 days ago, they cut him.
Wow.
So Stauskas has gone from the 8th overall pick in 2014 and I'm curious, so did you think when you were coaching him in high school that this was a guy who could play in the NBA? Did you think he had the heart to play in the NBA? Did you
at the time, he was 1 year younger than the rest of our players, but he put in the time. His nickname was Sick Nick. We called him Sick Nick. And the difference between him and any of the other guys on my team, after practice is over, everybody goes home. Nick had a court in his backyard, 100 shots every night. Wayne Gretzky had a ice in his backyard in Brantford. He'd go and put in. You got to put in the extra time. I don't care how good you are. You have to put in that time. And Nick Stauskas put in that time. And it also helped that he went from 5'11" to 6'6" in 2 years.
Real
right?
quick.
From grade 11 to his prep school, and then he went to Michigan Wolverines.
Talking about Stauskas. And now no team. Interesting. He's such an interesting career. His first game with each new team, right? He played for like 6 different teams all the time. He would always light it up, go for 22, 24. He had the stuff. but he just couldn't continue it. Danny Menlo saying, Jimmy, you said Cedric parties with athletes. Here's some dirt. We will get into that very shortly. Let's talk about the guys you coached against. Tristan Thompson, the Ennis brothers. I thought Tyler Ennis was going to be a player. Tristan Thompson, Ennis brothers, tell us a little bit about
that. Tristan played Brampton Blue Devils, and then he went down to a prep school. He was always with Corey Joseph. They usually were paired together, and he ended up going to Texas, and he did well. But Tristan was in grade 5, he was my height. He was 6 foot in grade 5. Like, it was crazy. And we were a grade 4 team playing against them. And when the coach put his bench on, I'd put my grade 5-4s out, and we would like catch up, and then he put those kids back in. And Dylan Ennis was part of that team. And Tristan was just ball. Like, he played it probably 11 months of the year, man. It was crazy. And he did well at Texas, you know. 1 year. He played 1 year at Texas, right? Before he went to the league. He got drafted by Cavaliers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and Thompson's had a good career. I thought Tyler Ennis was going to have a career. I thought he'd have a career similar to Corey Joseph, but the Ennis brothers never made it.
No.
Was Tyler Ennis the best of the Ennis brothers?
Yeah. Dylan put in hard work. Tyler too. Tyler was a gym rat, and he played for Syracuse, and he had a great year that year. And he came into the league, and he was with Phoenix, and I don't know why he never took it to the next level. I really couldn't tell you. He wasn't a big kid either, right? So that could and I think somebody else came into
And you were saying that Tyler Ennis didn't even play for Canada.
Huh?
He didn't even play for Canada.
No, he didn't play for Canada. No.
So he went.
No, that was Dylan Ennis. He played for Jamaica.
Oh,
team for Jamaica. His dad was Jamaican. Yeah.
Dan Kelly says, talk about the worst draft pick of all time, Anthony Bennett. Man, first overall, Anthony Bennett. So I watched Anthony Bennett in the 905s, right? I love going to 905 games. I watch him in 905s. And the Raptors tried to get him going. Well, why did Anthony Bennett not succeed?
Okay, I'll tell you. Bennett, I reffed basketball in Mississauga. Bennett had a 25-year-old body, but a 14-year-old mind. So his mind never caught up to his body. And they took advantage of a weak draft. And when he found out he's going number 1, he went into the bathroom, threw up all over the place, right? So his mind never caught up to his body. And I heard that they're working with him, and he's trying to make a comeback. Because he had like a body of a man, but a mind of a child. And that'll never work, right?
14 picks in front of Giannis Antetokounmpo. 14 picks in front of Giannis. And the Mavs could have got Giannis Antetokounmpo, but the story goes they didn't want to spend the $35,000. I don't know the exact parts of it, but it was a $35,000 expenditure they didn't want to make to draft Giannis Antetokounmpo.
The best thing.
Yeah, Carlos Baroche, best thing Thompson did was get a Kardashian pregnant. It's not bad. Let's start talking about some famous dudes that you've partied with. Let's talk about some of these famous athletes that you've
one of them, Ray Emery. Ray Emery was.
And there's another. Yeah, it's interesting that so many of the guys that party the hardest are dead.
Yeah. Ray Emery had a couple of drinks with him. And
Ray Emery's story of dying is so mysterious.
Yeah.
It was last year. They found him in the lake
in Hamilton. Yeah, he supposedly jumped in the water for a swim, and he knows how to swim. And I don't know. Nobody knows what happened. It was a mystery, right? So who knows, man? It fits a stereotype. Black people can't swim, but
I'll let you make that joke. Let's keep it. Ray Emery. You also partied with Carey Price when he came in.
I went into a bar, and he was there with the Kostitsins, and he was a young kid.
Those Kostitsins were party animals.
And it was a Russian bar. And,
they're back in the KHL immediately.
They got rid of them. Yeah. The Habs take their hockey seriously, and Carey Price, he was a young, good-looking BC boy. Was in there.
Anaheim Lake, way up north.
Yeah, you hand him $3 million with these hot French strippers. What do you think's gonna happen? So they had a team meeting, and they said, "Listen, Price, chill out on the partying, and we're gonna make you our number 1 goalie. But this year we're gonna put Halak as our number 1 goalie." And Halak played that playoffs. And I remember. He went to St. Louis after, right? I think right.
I believe that.
And then Price cleaned up, and he won the cup with Team Canada. So yeah. And I met PK in his rookie year, man. That was he was just at a place called Trent in South Shore. That was the place where the Habs used to go, and he just looked like he's just like starry-eyed, and the kid ended up doing well, man. But they traded him at the last minute, he should have pulled that.
Kenny Robinson was talking about PK because PK still donated all that money to the Sick Kids Hospital, even though he wasn't playing for Montreal.
Yeah.
Respect. So there was John Avery. Some of you guys may remember him with the Dolphins. He was a first-round pick in 99?
99,
yeah. First-round pick.
And he won with the Argonauts in 2004, I think.
Yeah, he had a monster year for the Eskimos.
Yeah.
He hurt himself He hurt himself after his rookie year and had difficulty coming back. Let's talk a little bit about John Avery, because John Avery's a stand-up comic that I've worked with, but you've worked with a ton.
A ton of times. I took him to open for me in a gig in Brampton, and John Avery went on just before me, had a great set. And I came on stage. I said, "Hey, everybody, keep it going for John Avery." And they said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you want to see his Grey Cup ring?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, we want to see the ring." I said, "It's at the pawn shop on Rutherford and Queen." Oh, yes, fuck you, nigga. I mean, I have to say this.
Yeah, of course. You are.
So Avery was doing stand-up. The very first time I met Avery was 2006. I was hosting an amateur night downtown Yuck Yucks, and Avery walked in with Ricky Williams.
So Ricky, you guys remember Dick trades the whole draft class for Ricky for the number 1 overall pick, which we knew would be Ricky. So Ricky, when he was dealing with all of the weed situations, he came up and played for the Argos.
Yeah, so him and John Avery walked in. John Avery wanted to do a set there, and he wanted to watch the comedy. And Ricky Williams walked in, and he was a big guy, right? So I see him, I go, "Oh my gosh, it's John Avery, Ricky Williams." I go, "Ricky, you got any weed?" And he's like, he had the littlest voice for the biggest guy. He's like, "That was very funny." I'm like, "What?" I go, "Ricky, how do you play in the NFL and then come to the CFL and get hurt?"
Yeah, he got hurt, right? He broke his forearm. His forearm. He was having an okay year.
Yeah, but what John Avery had said to me, CFL was harder than the NFL because the NFL, they start from a standstill. CFL, he said, they come at you.
They're moving already. Snoop Dogg loves that shit.
Yeah. So
Snoop loves that. That's his favorite rule.
Yeah. So John Avery said it's hard, and it's a wider field, and it's not as easy as people think it is, right?
Yeah. I went to my first NFL game, and I was like, oh, I enjoy this because the CFL field is enormous. When they're at one end, you don't even know what's going on. I enjoy the CFL. Speaking of CFL, did you ever go to Alouette games?
Yes, I went to a couple of them, actually. I went to a few of them, and I wasn't a big CFL fan, but...
Does Montreal care about the Alouettes?
Yes, remember, they were hurting for a little bit. They came back, and then they came back, and what's his name? Their quarterback, Vince... the quarterback for the Alouettes. He won with them.
The First Nations guy.
He's
like one of the best in the league.
Why can't I remember his name right now?
What the hell's wrong? We haven't been talking football enough. Alouettes star quarterback. Oh, this is embarrassing.
Keep going. Anthony
Calvillo.
Calvillo, yeah. He won quite a bit with them.
We just don't remember. And Johnny Football came over there.
No, he didn't do very well. The worst thing they could have done with Johnny Football, he was a big partier too, right? He went from the Browns to Hamilton.
Yeah.
If you don't know Hamilton, it's the biggest party town in Canada, probably. So that wasn't a good place for him. He didn't do very well up here. And they don't pay a lot of money. So a lot of friends that I knew that played in the CFL, they ended up having summer jobs, like putting on people's sneakers.
Man, working down a Foot Locker or a fireman. There was a couple of firemen in there. Yeah, man. I can't believe I couldn't remember Anthony Calvillo's name. What an embarrassment. What an astonishing embarrassment I am. All right. Non-political says Americans play the CFL. They run out of breath early. I don't know about that. All right. Well, let's talk about, Cedric, it's known around the comics that you've probably betted every woman on the Eastern Seaboard. What's hottest female athlete?
I always loved Serena. I was a big Serena fan. Serena was Tick. That's what Jamaicans call him. We call him Tick. And she was one of my favorites. What, she won 23 majors?
23 majors. Can you believe Drake got there?
Oh my gosh.
That guy.
Drake been everywhere.
Is there anything he hasn't done?
J-Lo. He already got J-Lo too.
How does Drake get... Oh man, Drake. God, he knows what it is.
Kiki.
Serena. So Serena, you'd say that your hottest female?
Yeah. Serena's right up my alley. Do you remember what was that? What was that tennis star that never won anything? She was hot. Kornikova
was hot. And then we had the Canadian female tennis player that was very attractive as well. She's
from Quebec
around right now, right? I don't watch enough tennis. Deer Slayer Ski says Serena is gross. I disagree. Deer Slayer Ski.
Depends what you think of gross. No, she's I like Serena. What do you consider hot?
Let's get a pick. Let's get a quick pick.
Martina Navratilova.
Paco Healy says, isn't that where Babano lives? Yes, Hamilton. Hamilton. So you really think Hamilton's the biggest party scene? Because you go nonstop back and forth across the country touring. You tour all through Europe. You really think that Hamilton is the
it depends what you consider party, but I'm saying Vancouver is a big party town. Like that's the place for party. But Hamilton, when I say party, I mean they're just druggies up there. So Hamilton's pretty bad.
Oh yeah, Jay's saying Jeannie Bouchard.
Yeah, Jeannie Bouchard. Yeah, she's pretty hot. She can't win anything, but she's
no. No, and now we have the number one female tennis player probably in the world.
But she's very prone to get hurt, huh? I don't know if she's gonna win another one for a while. I think she's strong enough to win it, but it's gonna be tough. When you hand a kid that much money, it's gonna be hard for them to have the hunger. And they're doing commercials now, doing everything. She won it very early in her career. Do you think she's gonna get back to that? That's gonna be the tough part, right?
I have one last question. We're going to have to put a bow on this show. It's been great. Cedric Newman here in the house. You can catch Cedric Newman if you are in the Maritimes, right? You're Halifax.
Yeah, Halifax and then St. John.
And you're doing a big fundraiser before you play the Yucks Club. What was that about?
It's this Saturday. It's going to be at the Casino Halifax. And it's a fundraiser for, the inner city kids and the basketball program. So if you know anybody out east, just come check it out. It's after the Yucks next week, Saturday. I think February 22nd.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. So do you think that the Toronto city here should have an NFL team, and do you think they would support it?
Of course. Yeah. Look at Buffalo. Look at crappy Buffalo. People go there and support those Bills who lost 4 in a row in the 90s. We're going to support.
Do you think if we have an NFL team in Toronto that the CFL goes under?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah.
Probably does, right? So I'm still against it. The CFL has been a very special league for us, and I want it to exist. So maybe that's just selfish, but I hope that we keep it the way it is.
Yeah, I think we should support our Canadians, man. Canada, we've been stepping it up, and I'm pro Canada, and they got the NFL there, and for all it is, and it's great football, but Canada, we got to support our own.
Yeah, no, respect. We're sitting here with Cedric Newman, episode 4 of the Jimmy the Bag Show, and you are on the Comedy Network right now, right? You have a gala from the Halifax Comedy Festival is on right now. You can catch him on the Comedy Network. Catch him this weekend in Halifax and also at the Halifax Casino Halifax. Yeah. Right? It's a nice casino over there, nice casino. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat today. Thank you guys for joining us. Christopher Commentini says CFL is good for gambling. It's been okay for us. It's been okay. Jimmy CC in the house. Boston Nick, a.k.a. Mr. Fat Fist. All you guys. Quick review of my action today. I have 3 looks in the NHL. I'm on the over 5.5 in Anaheim, Calgary. I'm on the under 6 in Florida, San Jose. There is a 6.5 a bookmaker if you would make a move there. And then I'm on the Lightning. What I expect is that when we come in here tomorrow, we'll be talking about how the Tampa Bay Lightning have now won 11 straight, their franchise record winning streak. That's what I expect we're going to be talking about tomorrow when I get back here, starring here at the Dog and Bear, 1100 Queen Street West. Join us. Come down. It's the best place in the city, in the country, to watch Raptors, Leafs. Join us. And Cedric Newman in the house. Ced, thank you so much for joining us.
Jimmy the Bag, support him.
Cedric Newman in the house. In the house. Thank you guys so much for watching Sportsbook Review. Like, subscribe, and also if you can, hit that link at the bottom of the screen, www.sbrvideo.com/thebag. I've got nothing without you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let's get that cash. I will see you tomorrow morning here at 11 a.m. Happy President's Day. Happy Family Day. Enjoy this Monday off if you get it. If you're at work, get that work done and get that cash. Thank you guys.
Peace. Look, somebody wrote great show.